The Project Discovery Treasure Hunt. Ever heard of it? A viewer brought it to my attention and I decided to give it a go. At first glance, it looks like a way to print unlimited ISK, but that sounds too good to be true. As a brief summary, the treasure hunt sends you to 3 different locations. Each site has some form of monument that requires you to use an Entosis Link on it. After each cycle of your Entosis Link, you'll either receive a component required to build a Blackglass implant, or junk. The implant is usually worth around 50 million ISK, and there's no limit to how many times you can run the hunt. Let's quickly talk about the Entosis Link module itself, as it has a few unusual properties if you've never used one before. Firstly, once you activate the link, you can't warp, dock, jump, basically you're stuck on grid until the cycle finishes. And it does not have a fast cycle time. The Tech 1 link sells for 30 million ISK and has a cycle time of 5 minutes. The Tech 2 link has a cycle time of just 2 minutes, but at a cost of 150 million ISK. A lot of ISK to spend to essentially trap yourself. Each cycle also requires a single unit of Strontium Clathrate. Finally, while the module is fitted, you're unable to travel over 4,000 meters per second. Remember this detail, you'll see why later in the vid. Building the Blackglass implant requires 5 different types of DNA, radioactive materials, biomechanical interface data, and some PI materials, plus the blueprint itself. Each of these materials can be found at the 3 different sites. In each of the 3 systems, the location you need to go to will appear as a beacon on your overview. The best site by far is at a system called Guesstic, where you have to toast a mysterious shuttle. You either get a Blackglass blueprint itself, or the biomechanical interface data. Using the Tech 1 Entosis link with its 5-minute cycle time, this means it should take on average 10 minutes to get both the blueprint and interface data. Then you can move on. Personally, I just left the Entosis link running and went to bed. When I came back the next day, I had over 100 runs worth of materials to work with. The next site is less ideal. Located in Langisi, you have to toast the Project Discovery monument next to the station. This site gives you 8 different items, only 5 of which are actually used in the Blackglass build. The item it gives is random too, so you could end up getting the same item over and over until you finally complete the set. You're after 5 different DNA items from the 5 empires. You can scrap the 3 junk items. Again, I left my toaster running and went to bed, which gave me just over 20 runs worth of DNA. For these 2 sites you can use a cheap Tech 1 Entosis link. Pick any ship that has a decent cargo space for the Strontium, or to really ramp up production, use a Tech 2 Entosis link. Since the Tech 2 link is more expensive, it's a good idea to tank whatever you're flying. Don't make it easy for the gankers. I used a brick tank Praxis. The last site is the reason these implants haven't flooded the market. It's in Acomon, which is a low-sec system. Toasting the Titan wreck gives you one of 4 different materials, but only the radioactive materials are needed for the implant. This means that on average, it could take you 4 cycles to get the item you need. This is where the cycle time becomes deadly. The locals know about this site, and they are set up to catch people. Remember, you're stuck on grid limited to a maximum of 4,000 meters per second for up to 5 minutes with a Tech 1 Entosis link. For this reason, I'm using a Tech 2 link here for that 2-minute cycle and aligning out as soon as someone enters local. Expensive, but it saves my bacon when a Dramil lands and starts burning after me. This Dramil is far too scary for my Hurricane Navy issue, so let me slip into something a bit more comfortable. Much better.
Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
How would they know?
With the bait hauler in position and my ult logged off nearby, I settled down to wait, and soon enough my target entered local. Viewer discretion is advised. The PvP you're about to witness is... it's so bad. This is what you get when you haven't PvP'd for 3 months. Who needs a working scram anyway, right? I'm likely dead now anyway that his ult has turned up, so I quickly scoop the loot in the hope that more expensive mods get destroyed.
Warp drive active.
Success-ish. Anyway, assuming you've dodged the locals long enough to bag some radioactive materials, that's everything you need except for a few PI materials that you can buy from Jita. Farming the low sec site obviously isn't really viable to do AFK. It could however make a nice content generator. If you're part of a small group, why not swing by with some Entosis links? You'll either get a fight or some easy ISK. You can use multiple links on the Titan, so each member of the fleet will get the radioactive materials about every 4 cycles. As a consolation prize, one of the junk items is the Fedo. It's finally time for assembly. Collect all the various build materials you've gathered into one location, like Jita, and buy the missing PI, which adds negligible cost. Boom, you've got yourself some Blackglass implants to sell. So, is it worth it? What's the ISK per hour? If you're farming the high sec sites while you're truly AFK, like sleeping or at work, then the time it takes to gather the required materials from these sites doesn't really matter. Your active playtime will be spent trying to get the radioactive materials, and this will be the bottleneck. You'll have a 1 in 4 chance each cycle, which translates to 1 implant every 8 minutes using a Tech 2 link. Assuming you sell the implant for 40 million ISK, that's 300 million per hour. Of course you need to factor in the time it takes you to transport the items back to Jita, but when doing this in bulk, that 300 million per hour isn't far off. That's at the time of recording, of course. Your mileage may vary. But that's not the end. I wasn't satisfied with the Hurricane. I knew that using it would eventually get me killed if I got unlucky with the cycle times, so I swapped to the Hugin. A combat recon ship means you won't show up on D-scan, meaning most people wouldn't even bother warping to the site. It also has bonuses to web range. If we can't go faster than 4,000 meters per second, then the other way to outrun our friendly pirate is to make him go slower. The Tech 2 webs have a heated range of 52 kilometers, more than enough to hold him off until our cycle finishes. There's obviously still counters to the Hugin, so be sure to link your lost mail in the comments below, or just leave your in-game name for a chance to win the Rupture Scripts Indication skin. I've made billions over the last month farming the Blackglass implant. Hopefully you can too. If you appreciate me sharing this knowledge, please subscribe. It's not the first ISK making method I've shared. You wouldn't want to miss the next one, would you? Hope you enjoyed. Cheers.